Hi, I'm Jenny. I am a freelance developer and I run the Facebook group for female developers called Women in Web Dev. This is a Facebook Live that I did a few weeks ago. Now, a lot of you want to be developers, and it's helpful to hear how uh, different people got started. And so I started making websites when I was in university, and I took a web design class in my professional writing program. So we made websites with Dreamweaver and used HTML and CSS. Now, that was back in 2010 and 2011. So we were still dealing with working with the ever lovely Internet Explorer 6, 7, 8, and making sure those like that your CSS plays nicely across all browsers was such a big pain in the butt. But it was also really challenging and stimulating, and I totally loved it. After I graduated from university, I thought to myself, I got an English degree, don't have any regrets with that. And I thought, okay, if I have to pick a new degree, like if I couldn't do an English degree, I would probably get a degree in web development or web design because that was the class that I really enjoyed the most. And I was famous for talking out loud to Dreamweaver because I was so engaged with it. After that, after I graduated, I kept up with my web design skills. I took Treehouse courses, so I studied, after work. And because I was in digital marketing, I could use my HTML and CSS knowledge to edit WordPress sites or make my own HTML email templates. And email templates are a whole different beast of their own if you haven't tried them. It's kind of like building your websites from the early 90s when all the websites were made from tables. That's what your email templates are. They're all just tables. After I had a few marketing jobs, I was traveling, worked in India for 6 months, and I went back to Vancouver, very broke, and started looking for marketing jobs. And the sad thing about marketing jobs in Vancouver is that they don't pay very well. So even though I had a few years of work experience, I felt like, well, they should really be paying me more since I'm not a new graduate and I had the technical skills that a lot of marketers didn't have. And the issue with the Vancouver market is that there are a lot of small businesses. So it's not like huge corporations with a bunch of money that can hire knowledgeable marketers. And I have heard about Lighthouse Labs, a web development boot camp in Vancouver. And I figured that if I spent 2 months and about $9,000, I could live at home and do the boot camp and immediately increase my salary by like 20%. And I know that my earning potential would skyrocket because development pays a lot better. I also really wanted to go remote, so that was one of my long-term goals when I went into development. I have to stress that I went into it because I already knew I really enjoyed making websites. So if you aren't sure that you really enjoy doing it, I wouldn't recommend that you invest so much money and time into a boot camp if you aren't sure. Like for me, I had been doing websites for basically about 5 years before I took my boot camp. Now that was like kind of smaller tasks. Um, I made some landing pages, but the important thing is that by the time I went to my boot camp, I already knew that I really liked making websites. If you have any questions about deciding whether you should go to a boot camp, please reach out. I'll be happy to answer questions. Yeah. So after I took my boot camp, it was such a great experience, and it was basically one of the best things that I've done. Right after I graduated, I already knew that I had the ability to make any app that I can think of. Now, that app might not scale to like 1 million users, but I could make a, MVP. Like I totally had the skills. And I could freelance if I wanted to. And then I chose to work in an office for some time because I knew that in order to level up quickly, it's more important for me to surround myself with people who are better than I am and learn and soak from the environment, right? Like hearing seasoned developers talk is such a treat because sometimes you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I barely understood any of those words, but it's nice to be in the room and kind of getting a sense of how they think, how they interact. So that's been a really valuable experience. After about a year of commuting back and forth to work, I decided that I was burnt out and I quit my job. Went on a farm, did some wolfing, like volunteered on an organic farm, and I started doing some freelance contracts. So I did a contract WordPress site where they had a lot of like custom plugins that it needed. And it was a really nice mix between doing some physical work, getting some sun because you don't get sun as a developer, and then working on my side gig at night. So it was super busy time, but it's also super fulfilling. And then now I am back at my old company as a contractor where I'm leading one of the newer projects, and it's really interesting to like see how project comes to life and how you like document the process with developing for that project and also training other people on how you would do QA on it, work with it, help others understand it. So I am doing a lot of development, but a lot of it too is about communication and thinking about how do you pass your knowledge on to future developers. So even when you're a developer, your life is not just all about coding. All the stuff about working in any other job, leadership skills, communication skills come into play. I think on social media, a lot of them might look at me and think like I gotta have all it got figured out and put together. Yes, I'm a developer, but no, I don't have it all figured out. Like I've been wanting to incorporate for like 2 months. I still haven't done it. Charging way too little for my services. Sometimes it's hard to not be addicted to Facebook. Like I'm doing yoga and I pick up my phone like 10 times. So I have the same challenges. Like in the past 2 years, it's great to see how far I've come, but also like I don't spend my spare time coding side projects. Like I don't have any side projects that I can really show off on GitHub other than like the final projects from a boot camp. So don't feel bad if you don't do it because life is way more than just coding. So have a great weekend and I'll talk to you guys next week.